Another link I'm putting up too is to do with Blackwater. And I've talked about Blackwater quite a few times before. They've changed their name, of course. And this article here talks about all the other divisions they have. It's just astonishing. Over the past several years, entities closely linked to the private security firm Blackwater have provided intelligence, training and security services to U.S. and foreign governments, as well as several multinational corporations, including Monsanto. They actually guard them, and they actually have deals with them to go in and harass people who are standing up against Monsanto. No kidding. Like thugs. But they're allowed to do it, you see. See, you have authorized thugs in the world, and then you have non-authorized ones. Chevron, the Walt Disney Company, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and banking giants Deutsche Bank and Barclays, according to documents obtained by the nation. Blackwater's work for corporations and government agencies was contracted using two companies owned by Blackwater's owner and founder, Eric Prince. Total Intelligence Solutions and the Terrorism Research Center. Prince is listed as the chairman of both companies in internal company documents, which show how the web of companies functions as a highly coordinated operation. Officials from Total Intelligence, TRC, and Blackwater, which now calls itself XE Services, did not respond to numerous requests for comment on the article. And it says here too, one of the most incendiary details of the documents is that Blackwater, through Total Intelligence, sought to become the intel arm of Monsanto, offering to provide operatives to infiltrate activist groups organizing against the multinational biotech firm. Governmental recipients of intelligence services and counter-terrorism training from Prince's companies include the Kingdom of Jordan, the Canadian military, no kidding, a private organization is training the Canadian military, the Special Forces, and the Netherlands Police, as well as several U.S. military bases, including Fort Bragg, home of the Elite Joint Special Operations Command at Fort Huachuca, where military interrogators are trained, according to the documents. In addition, Blackwater worked through the companies for the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, and the U.S. European Command. Do you understand? This is a private company or organization with all of these specialized areas, right down to the domestic spying, by the way. And they're not responsible to you, the supposed citizen, at all. You just pay the money, the taxes that the government's funneled down to them to do the dirty work. So who do you complain to? The government will say, well, they're not ours, they're private, you see. It's a different thing altogether. That's how the government loves this stuff. You understand, the big revolution didn't happen from the public. The big revolution came from the big corporations at the top. This is their revolution. Revolutions in the past used to be middle class led. And the middle classes, of course, were always stymied. They couldn't get higher up in the totem pole. They couldn't get advancement, and they would have revolutions. But when they saw the systems coming out in the early 20th century to do with unions, etc., and rights for the people, they determined right there and then that they would have their own corporate, they'd pool together their corporations under big organizations, and they'd work together to rule and bring in this new world order. You understand? Which they would command. And they've had 100 years to work on it, non-stop. Easy when you have all the bucks, though, and think tanks that you can afford to buy, purchase, and generations of guys you hire, train, work, retire, and then in come the new ones. You get the job done. It says here on September the 3rd, the New York Times reported that Blackwater had created a web of more than 30 shell companies or subsidiaries, in part to obtain millions of dollars in American government contracts after the security company came under intense criticism for reckless conduct in Iraq. I don't know how you can get more reckless, because the forces over there are allowed to slaughter anybody they want to. The documents obtained by the nation reveal previously unreported details of several such companies and open a rare window into the sensitive intelligence and security operations Blackwater performs for a range of powerful corporations and government agencies. The new evidence also sheds light on the key roles of several former top CIA officials who went to work for Blackwater. The coordinator of that means that all the secrets they bring with them too goes along with them. The coordinator of Blackwater's covert CIA business, former CIA paramilitary officer Rick Prado, set up a global network of foreign operatives offering their deniability as a big plus for potential Blackwater customers, according to company documents. The CIA has long used proxy forces to carry out extra-legal actions or to shield U.S. government involvement in unsavory operations from scrutiny. Back with more after this break. Hi folks, we're back and we're cutting through the matrix. Reading an article here about Blackwater, which is it's got its fingers in so many pies, and it's got front organizations involved with even civil disobedience and disruption of people who protest GM food, for instance, modified food, stuff like that. But it says here, while the network was originally established for use in CIA operations, documents show that Prado viewed it as potentially viable to other government agencies. In an email in October 2007 with the subject line, possible opportunity in DEA, it says, read and delete. Prado wrote a total intelligence executive with a pitch for the Drug Enforcement Administration. That executive was an 18-year DEA veteran with extensive government connections who had recently joined the firm. Prado explained that Blackwater developed a rapidly growing worldwide network of folks that can do everything from surveillance to ground truth to disruption operations, he added. These are all foreign nationals except for a few cases where U.S. persons are the conduit but no longer play on the street. So they can actually use foreign nationals too and give you a complete false story on your news when it comes on the news as to who's causing what seems to be disruption. It says, so deniability is built in and should be a big plus. That was his sales pitch. The executive wrote back and suggested there may be an interest in those services. The executive suggested that one of the best places to start may be the Special Operations Division, which is located in Chantilly, Virginia, telling Prado the name of the special agent in charge. The SOD is a secretive joint command with the Justice Department run by the DEA. It serves as a command and control center for some of the most sensitive counter-narcotics and law enforcement operations conducted by federal forces. The executive also told Prado that U.S. attachés in Mexico, Bogota, Colombia, and Bangkok, Thailand, would potentially be interested in Prado's network. Where this network was activated and for what customers cannot be confirmed. A former Blackwater employee who worked on the company's CIA program declined to comment on Prado's work for the company, citing its classified status. So here you have this, again, this public-private type deal on the go here, where governments are hiring and using mercenaries right down to even the street level to disrupt various protesters in different countries. We've seen that going on at G20 meetings, stuff like that. And they fly them in, foreign nationals, so some other country gets the blame, of course, stuff like that. But you can't believe anything that you see across the news media today on television, because so much of it is staged by characters like this, by the big corporations that can get the dirty work done for governments and therefore keeps the government's hands clean. And this article goes on to say, in November 2007, officials from Prince's companies developed a pricing structure for security and intelligence services for private companies and wealthy individuals. They had the capacity to develop infrastructures and conduct ground truth and security activities. And as I say, they already work for Monsanto and a whole bunch of other organizations. And they do smear campaigns as well. They have just like intelligence services. They do smear campaigns on people who are trying to get the truth out on what the new bio-food is all about, the modified food, what it's doing to humans. They'll smash those groups up, smear them, smear campaigns and so on. And threaten folk directly too, of course. And get away with it, you see. Because you're under the new feudal system, folks. And that's how feudalism is run. From Hamish Marcella from Ontario, Canada, it's good night to me, your God or your gods go with you.